What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hopefully you're having a great day, and I have a question for you. When God says in his word that he's going to pour out his spirit, it's not about will he do it, it's about are you willing to receive it. So let's get into it. In Acts 2:17, this will be coming, it says, "And it shall come to pass in the last days, says God, that I will pour out my spirit on all flesh. Your sons and your daughters shall prophesy, your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams." The reality of this verse is that it's not about just us talking about the outpouring of the Spirit, or even God promising the outpouring of the Spirit. It's about how you position yourself to either receive it or even quietly resist it for yourself, because the tension of the truth of the statement is that you have to allow the Holy Spirit to dwell in you. You have to receive the outpouring. And my three talking points here are simple and sweet. And I want to start with the fact of it's not the outpouring of the Spirit that's the issue here. It's our readiness to receive it, or our willingness to receive it, that is the issue. Because God is declaring he's going to pour out his Spirit. He's not saying he's not saying he might, he's not saying he could or should. It's the fact that he is. The question isn't that God is moving or God's doing what he says he's going to do. It's, are we open to receive it? Are we willing to see that this is not just hearsay or a possibility, but this is the fact. This is the assurance of his word, that he will do the things which he says he will do in it. Because we love the idea of revival, but maybe that revival disrupts your life. Maybe it comes with a little bit of a shaking and a stirring that you weren't ready for, or you weren't prepared for. But we have to understand that the Spirit of God isn't here to comfort your life. He's here to convict you. He's here to encourage you. He's here to correct you. He's here to change your life, because we're not supposed to walk in faith as who we were. We're supposed to walk in faith as who God makes us. And it comes from a place of surrender, because we have to receive him. And the receiving of him means that we need to let go. It's time for us to relinquish that control. It's time for us to just give in. And that's where you find that bit of hesitation. You're like, oh, whoa, I didn't know this is what it was going to take. And the irony is that you don't have to beg for what God has promised, because he's already promised it. But it's funny because you don't have to beg for it, but you have to be ready to receive it. And if you're not ready to receive it, then you're willingly rejecting something that is being given freely. And this comes from the aspect of that you cannot be full of the world and also be full of the Spirit. There's not, it's an old Western thing. This town's not big enough for the two of us. But we see in Acts 2 that people are being filled, that they're gathered, they're expectant, they're unified, they're surrendering who they were to become who God is blatantly calling them to be, and outright calling them to be, because the Spirit can only fill what's empty, not what's already occupied. And you know, that might be hard for some of you people to hear, that you can't be who you are and also be who God needs you to be, because it doesn't work. Because you cannot serve two masters. Because if you're unwilling to let go of who you are, that means you're unwilling to let go of who you've made yourself, of who you have become in the world. And Jesus calls us, you know, to not be of the world. And the word calls us to not be conformed to the world, but be transformed and renewed in our minds. Because this distraction, this pride, this comfort that we have built, that we have solidified, that we have founded ourselves on, it can only choke out spiritual hunger. If you're not spiritually hungry, take a look at your life. Are you starving your flesh in any aspects of the world? Are you holding, yourself accountable, and maybe holding back from fully walking in the things of God because you aren't allowing the word to test your persona or who you are. We ask more from God every single day. We get up and it's like, Lord, bless me. And it's like, but you're doing all that without leaving room for him to move in your life. Now, something to think about, moving forward from this video, from this time, from this moment that you're seeing this, is that if God poured it out right now, I mean, he's been pouring it out. These are the last days as far as I'm concerned. He's pouring out his spirit. You can see it all over the place. The revivals, the things going on in the Middle East. So many good things happening according to the word of God. But if God poured his spirit, just like, think of it as him just pouring water on you, right? He has a pitcher, it's full of his spirit. You're sitting there, just minding your own business, saying, God, I need more. And he poured it on you. He said, all right, you want more? I got more for you. Would there even be space for it to fill up or to land in your life? Or would it just kind of run off of you? And it would be refreshing and cool for a second, but then all of a sudden you're back to dry or hot or uncomfortable or sweltering, because when you allow that word to fill you up and not just run off your back, you are receiving the Spirit and accepting the assignment. And I think that's where people miss or refuse, is that accepting the assignment. Because receiving the Spirit doesn't mean you just, oh, I'm full and happy and full of joy and da-da-da-da-da-da. That stuff's all true, but it also, you have to understand that there is an assignment, there is a role, there is a purpose for your life that God has designed and planned and prepped and put into action if you receive it. Because it says here that in this moment, it's not just a moment. It is a beginning. It is a launching point. It is where it launches people into a bold, uncomfortable purpose, is what men say. And it says in the word, if we open it back up, I don't know why I closed it, because I know I had things I had to bring out of it. And it says in the word here, again, you guys are seeing my sloppiness and my humanity. It says, your sons and your daughters will prophesy. Your young men shall see visions, and your old men shall dream dreams. When you prophesy, that means you're allowing God to use your voice. When you see visions, you're allowing your direction to be changed because you're following a vision. You're encouraging others to follow that vision. And when you dream, it's a shift in perspective. It's not just, you having a weird dream. It's not just an emotional situation when you receive the word and you receive the Spirit of God. It's a spiritual transformation. A lot of people want to experience that transformation, but they don't want to experience the need and the call and the draw on their lives once they find that transformation. And I'm not saying you can't, but what I am saying is there's plenty of people who received the Spirit, began walking in the Spirit, and then when it got uncomfortable, they said, no, this is not for me. But you have to make that choice, because there's a responsibility that comes with you receiving the word. God's willing to give it to you, but he also needs you to do something. You need to be responsible for what he gives you. And I'm going to close with this statement here. And it says, God didn't say he might pour it out. He said he will. Like I said in the beginning, he's not saying he's going to, or he should, or he could have. He said he is. The only real question that you have to ask, that I have to ask, that we all have to ask ourselves, is that when it comes, will you receive it, or will you resist what becomes required of you by it? Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one. Hopefully you're asking yourself a lot of questions. Hopefully you're unpacking who you are, and maybe moving some things out so that God can move in and you can become who he needs you to be. Peace out. God bless. I love y'all.